Call the meeting to order. We'll start this meeting off with a prayer and a pledge led by Councilmember Keaton Fish.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for another wonderful day in Goddard. We thank you for the opportunity to make decisions tonight that will impact the community for many generations to come. God, I pray that you would just fill this space with your presence and guide and direct us in the way that you see fit. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, we need to add an agenda item, an executive session for let's do, yeah, I'm sorry. We'll do an executive session to discuss matters of non-elected personnel to include the city administrator and treasurer for 10 minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Citizen comments. Item D. Who'd like to get up and speak? Mrs. Silvers.
Good evening. I'm speaking with you tonight about the rezoning of 321 North Pine. I've spoken to you about the safety of the children in regards to the possibility of street parking as well as the wildlife in my backyard being disrupted. So I won't repeat those issues. I agree that Mr. Richards' request to rezone is within regulations. I can't argue these points. I can, however, plead with you to use common sense. If you pass this tonight, Mr. Richards will be allowed to build a duplex on this lot. But should you pass this request, should a duplex be built in a neighborhood with front yards and trees and established homes? Mr. Richards made a point to say he likes to build in these neighborhoods to spruce them up. We all own our homes, have nice landscaping, we keep our properties up, and take pride in our neighborhood. What is there to spruce up? Putting something so out of place, even with it being new, does not mean it will spruce up the neighborhood. If you look at the dimensions of his proposal, you will notice that there is no front yard. It will be driveway the whole width of the lot, all the way to the front door as his property on Craig Street. How would building a duplex with no front yard and only concrete spruce up a neighborhood? Picture me taking my 2-story farmhouse that was originally built in 1940 and moving it into the St. Andrews addition. How out of place do you think that would look? And would it even be allowed? This is no different. This would be putting a 2024 duplex in between homes built in 1940 and 1950. This block consists of homes built from 1940 to 1969. A duplex with no front yard or trees would totally ruin the aesthetics of this neighborhood. I understand the tax base would be higher building a duplex, but is it only about the money, or do we care about the aesthetics of the town at all? The Goddard Community Development Statement reads, the Community Development Department mission is to facilitate the creation of safe, balanced, efficient, visually appealing, and economically sustainable developments within Goddard. Your own zoning regulations state to promote the public health, safety, morals, comfort, and general welfare, and to protect and control the aesthetics of redevelopment or new development. If your goal is to protect the aesthetics, then you have to agree this would not fit into that goal. I ask you one more time to please deny the request to rezone 321 North Pine as you did previously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Silvers. Anybody else?
My name is Denise Hike. My address is 2300 South Leo Street. I'm here to talk about 321 North Pine also, the rezoning of it to be R2. Please reconsider changing it so we can build a single-family home instead of duplexes. I am just baffled on why we are doing what the investors want us to do and not listen to communities. Our investors are going to make their profits and leave. The community has to live with what they didn't want. I have been paying attention to social media and when people speak here. The only ones that are asking for duplexes are investors. I know I am up for here fighting a losing battle, but I'm not doing this for me. My comfort zone is blending into the background and not being noticed. I'm doing this for the future. The young people 20 years from now are going to say, "You talk so much about how great small town living was. Why did you change it to a big city lifestyle?" I know in my 20s I had a goal to own my own home. I was able to achieve that goal because there was reasonable housing for the first-time homebuyers. If our future first-time homebuyers have to save so much money and pay rent at a higher amount than the mortgage would be, they will be given up on a goal that seems unreasonable. Please think of our future in Goddard. I know back in March, Councilman Fish said he walked over and looked at that property on 321 North Pine. Has anyone else physically looked at that property? I cannot imagine having two separate families living on that skinny lot. That neighborhood is owner occupied. Having duplexes there would bring down that neighborhood. Please consider changing the dimensions so the single family home can be built instead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Anybody else? Russ?
Well, good evening. Russ Lowen, 19894 West Kellogg Drive, Ace Hardware. Well, the election happened, and we will move forward. And we'll continue to build upon what you've done. So thank you for that. So much has been accomplished, and we want to keep going forward. But I have some asks. City Administrator as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'd like to see our strategic vision and plan to be, well, recreated. It's expired, it's old. I'd also like to understand if there is, I don't need an answer right now, is there a council member job description that we hold ourselves accountable to? Does that exist? Again, I don't want that answer right now. I also ask that moving forward, that council creates their own code of conduct, coming from you, organically from new council, existing council. Put that together and put it out there in the public so we all know what we're measuring ourselves against. Additionally, I would love for council to have a dress code and what that might look like. I want to represent Goddard in an appropriate and professional manner, consistently. I'd also like to review, or have reviewed, what is council's compensation. I know where it's at today, and I don't want to spend any more money more than anybody else does, but I want council compensation to be commensurate with what is expected from the public. Public asks much of you, and it's more than these meetings, and I think it's out of balance. Fair is fair. The amount of time that I see some of you give, I'll use Keaton, Councilman Fish as an example, just because of the visibility and a lot of people see what goes on with him. I see Mayor Larkin out there as well at the Main Street markets and so on. That stuff doesn't come for free. It comes from time away from his family. Some councils have their own business, or in order to sustain their existence, some council members have second jobs. This is a second job, and at times it's a full-time second job. You should be compensated accordingly. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Russ. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay, we're moving on. Item E1.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. So tonight, the DUI Victims Advocacy Center of Kansas reached out to me, as they do every year, and they annually contact us and other agencies around to meet with us. This is a time of year that they have designated as important for them because of holidays, because of celebrations, and the increased need for DUI awareness. So they reached out to us, and every year they'll bring us some magnets or red ribbons that we tie onto our antennas. Obviously, we kind of migrated away from antennas, so we've got magnets now. Anyway, they reached out, and in doing that, they also, this year, something new for them. They wanted to acknowledge one officer for each agency. So I provided them with the apparent to me who would be needing to be acknowledged for that for this year. And this year, I gave them the name of Officer Matthew Mellinger. Okay? So I don't know if you can see the slide up there and read it all, but to sum it all up, Matthew is getting the special recognition because of being a leader in that DUI impairment and arrests that he leads. And not just for being out there and arresting, but the quality of the work that he does with those, and all the way down to what people just don't see, except for us and the attorneys, but the paperwork, the report, the time that's spent into a case like that. So last year he had 21 DUI arrests. This year he already has 21 DUI arrests, and that's in addition to this little one that came that caused him to take a month off, so he would have probably had a few more then. And just his demeanor and attitude towards this and his passion towards it is what has led other officers to have the knowledge that he's able to pass on to them, as well as be motivated. Another officer has just a couple more than him already for this year. So I think as a department this year, there's already 64 DUI arrests in Goddard, which is quite a bit. And most of that is due to their passion for going out and enforcing those laws. So with that, there's some representatives here from the DUI Victims Center of Kansas, and I'll let them take the stage. You don't have to be nervous, we're all just stand up.
Okay. My name is Tiffany Fry, and my son, Taylor Chavez, graduated from Goddard Academy in 2019. He was 19 years old when he was killed in July of 2020 by an impaired driver a mile down the road from where we live. The work that the officers do for us to keep our streets safe is, my heart goes out to you because it's amazing. The DUI Victims Center, I started with them when Taylor was still in the hospital. He was still alive then. They knew that he was brain dead, but because of the medications he was on, we had to wait for that to clear out of his system before he could be declared brain dead. The DUI Victims Center has helped me throughout the court process and after. The agency is amazing.
Hi, my name is Terry Hanna, and I am the newest advocate that's joined this amazing team at the DUI Victims Center. And just in my short time in the past few weeks, the response I've received from Goddard's law enforcement in helping me do my job has been amazing. And just a standard to set for the other law enforcement agencies that I've been in contact with. And something to be proud of. My children go to school here, and I appreciate all that you and local law enforcement do to keep us safe. So we would like to present the Goddard Police Department with a certificate of recognition.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have any questions on the consent agenda? Accounts payable, anytime?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Brent,
Second.
second by Keaton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item H1.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is H1. This is 321 North Pine zoning case, zone number 23-4. So, quick background, Kirk Richards has submitted an application for rezoning one lot located off Pine Street with the address of 321 North Pine. A previous zoning case came before the Board of Zoning Appeals on January 9th of 2023 and was tabled due to concerns about the lot size. Case was picked up again on February 13th, 2023, and after some consideration was approved by the Planning Commission 6-1. Case went to the City Council on March 6, 2023, was denied due to concerns about the location of the rezoning and the size of the lot. The developer resubmitted the application for the rezoning under case number zone-23-4. On November 13th of 2023, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and after discussion and deliberation voted in favor of the rezoning 5-1. Final consideration for the rezoning must be approved by City Council, which is being considered today. So City Council is considering approving a rezoning case for the property listed at 321 North Pine. Land is currently zoned R1 single family residential and is around 0.16 acres. Developer would like to build a duplex on the lot and wants to rezone it to R2 two-family residential. The lot is currently vacant. The public hearing was held on November 13th of 2023, and that's when we go through the golden rules, which lays out everything under subdivision regulations. This is the lot in question. This is a blow-up image of it over here. This is showing it in proximity to all the properties around and the year built for those properties. This is showing the owner occupied versus renter occupied in the area, showing that about 25% of the existing properties in the area are already renter occupied. This map over here shows the quality rating that the county sets for each property, showing average, below average, and slightly above average, and an extremely below average quality of rating for the properties in that area. This is a duplex that's being presented. There might be some design modifications, but this is the one that we've seen most recently. This is the lot in question, 50 by 140. This is the similar duplex that was built in the Paint Addition on Craig Street with a 50 by 132 lot with a similar layout. Financially, going to be a small cost for publication for the rezoning ordinance. Legally, it's approved as a form by Robert Coconut of Morris Lang. It is recommended the City Council both one, waive the reading of the ordinance with a voice vote, and then two, approve the ordinance for the rezoning case number zone-23-4. In line with the zoning regulations, the comments made by the Planning Commission was that it meets the subdivision regulations, that it's unlikely to see a single-family detached house being built on the same lot, even if the regulations were amended to allow for it. And due to the nature of the developments that are happening in and around the city and the need for more rental properties, that it was a consideration for them to approve that rezoning case. So that's why the motion was made 5-1. And at this point, we do have the developer here. If you guys have questions for them, any questions or comments for me, feel free at this time.
So I don't know if Kirk wants to speak up to a few things, start off.
Yeah, I can just bring up a few things.
Come on up. First and last name and your address. And if if you want to use the PowerPoint, go back and forth, and then the green right here, we use that.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Well, this isn't my favorite part of the job, but as a developer, I mean, it is just a job, just like any job, like a mayor or a cop, or I mean, if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else. I do like to develop land and build and construct. It's just a passion of mine, and it's kind of like an art. I was an art student, kind of turned into remodeling houses and building. I do feel like I have, you know, some insight into some development and building. Of course, I'm doing Trails In. You guys all know that. Building some affordable housing out there. I know you guys don't want to be a Wichita, Kansas, but you know, we're also very helpful. You know, they came to us and asked us to help with the inner city fill-in, affordable housing, and they even do a lot of things like free permits, dump fees, tax abatements. But as you know, a Wichita developer, then you know, we've gone to Mays and now we're in Goddard. You know, it's not just about greed. It's about, you know, just building communities, and we're a part of that, and we're, you know, investing a lot of money in that. And I just want you guys to understand that. But, you know, as you know, we drive through to pull permits and, you know, and drive through town, you know, we see the empty lots and the need for some more affordable housing. So, you know, over the years coming through here, I know you guys have seen me up here. I've also, you know, I've been on Zillow and Realtor.com. I mean, there's nothing for rent in the affordable price range in Goddard. I mean, you have mobile homes at $995, and then you have single-family houses from $2,100 to $2,500. So, you know, you built these great schools, but if, you know, if somebody wanted to come to move to Goddard, there's just, unless they could afford $2,500, they couldn't do it. You know, so it creates something, you know, for you guys.
Kirk, one of the things that was brought up was the parking issue with parking cars. I know that you've tried to, most of the people in duplexes have limited amount of space.
Yeah.
So their garage ends up becoming a storage unit, or half of it. You've tried to help with, you know, fitting as much storage in the garage areas as you can, right?
That's correct. And just because it's a 3-bedroom, a lot of people use a 3rd bedroom for either storage, office. On the drawing, the driveway is actually wider, so there's actually 3 parking spots. Code is 2, so we'll have 3 on that, and then the actual setback is at, you know, code as well. I'm not asking for a variance or anything at 6%. So, you know, anybody could build whatever it was, if it was a garage or a house on that same setback size. So, and I'm here to, you know, also, you know, if there's anything that I can do, I know if you're worried about trees, you know, maybe I could do some more landscaping. You know, we took care of the parking, the setbacks the same.
Can you save those trees that are currently existing right there?
Yeah, actually, when I purchased the lot, we actually cleared all the trees that are going to be cleared. All the other trees will stay there. And also on the, I don't know how to go back here, but I kind of designed it where it is a little bit more, you know, older school elevations, and you know, and I could even change up some of that elevations, but you know, I didn't go modern or you
Right.
know,
Where it's out of place.
yeah. So I took that into consideration. I mean, I do want it to fit in, and it really will. I mean, the one on Craig that you guys approved, you know, 5 years ago is, you know, full all the time, fits right in. No, you know, no problems. No neighbors have any problems with it.
What's the typical value of these duplexes? Or this one in particular?
The Craig one is valued at $250 that you guys have.
What will this one be at?
Similar to that, but probably a little bit higher, just because you know some materials are higher right now, and the cost of building is higher.
Is that average with the other neighbors around there? What's the average?
Yeah.
Well, in that neighborhood, it's a sort of lower price market, so maybe.
I mean, there's a few trailer houses there,
There's
isn't
some
there?
mobile homes to the north on Pine Street. Some of the homes are valued 120, maybe 150. It's without looking at it extensively, but it's a lower price market for those houses.
I mean, I understand the aesthetics.
What does, so what would rent be on this? I mean, what's a ballpark?
Right now, we're renting them between $995 and $1,095 per side.
Could you, aesthetically, I mean, could you incorporate something like a privacy fence or something
Yeah.
for the,
Absolutely, and that was that was actually not just the landscaping, but yeah, I didn't know if a privacy fence would help. I mean, we have parking to keep them off the street. I know she's one lady's concerned with some nature, but you know, we won't be during construction. We won't be in her yard, or I wouldn't see that we would hurt at that, or
If you put a privacy fence, would you guys be more into
It looks like both sides already have fencing.
I think chain link is on one side, which we could and usually we do privacy fence just because people do like that.
Yeah.
And nowadays most people have animals, so we really cater towards fences for animals as well, and outdoor living space. So.
I mean, you've adjusted your plan a little bit to try to help accommodate some of the concerns.
Well, and offering some of the maybe some additional landscape and fencing, I'd be willing to do as well.
yeah, that's the thing is, I understand neighbors' concerns and it's a neighborhood, and also understand that, you just can't leave a vacant lot there forever either.
Yeah. And I understand, some people's homeowners' concerns, but really, when you do build something new, a lot of people do start fixing up their house. I mean, I see it all the time. When you build something new in a neighborhood, people have a sense of pride. People are outside painting their houses, doing landscape, minor, fix-ups. So I really do feel, I've seen it, but I mean, I don't just feel it, I've seen it. It does help in these, vacant lot areas and inner city feel in.
So if any of those other houses come in the area, if they come up for sale, is it going to help values as far as comparables?
Yeah, I would assume
And
so. The valuation.
The square footage and all that, I mean, you find similar comparables to existing structures around there, right?
Yeah.
So they can do.
Mike, if it help.
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
That's a difficult situation. Typically, if you're selling a property that's a single family detached, the counties will look at appraised values of similar composition. So they're not going to compare, for example, they're not going to take Melissa Silver's house if she ever sold it and look at Kirk Richards' duplex and say, well, let's see if this is going to increase the value of that property. They don't do apples to apples comparison that way. They're looking at a single family detached house in that neighborhood, and look at another comparable single family detached house with a similar neighborhood code for when that development went in. The biggest determination of valuation, generally speaking, is going to be year built, not necessarily its proximity to a duplex. And then also the composition for year built, number of rooms, square footage, livability. Those are the considerations that we take into account. So they're not going to look at Kirk Richards and say, oh, because of that this adjacent property, the county's not going to.
so it shouldn't hurt them either.
No, not at all. No, there is no consideration the county has. There's no metric the county has for looking at proximity of a duplex to a single family and making a determination for appraised value. It just doesn't exist. That's not a metric that exists in the county or any county for that general matter. The determination of marketability is a different thing. So you have appraised value, you have marketability. So the marketability is a completely different one. And generally, the marketability is going to be anything broader than it's going to sell. That's generally how the county will look at it. Because they want to be in the school district. That's what they're
One important thing is aesthetics. Want it to look nice and complement the neighborhood. You're exactly right. Affordable housing is very difficult for people that are looking for that type of thing. I mean, just members of my family are trying to move to this town. They can't find anything.
Yeah, correct.
So I think if we found a compromise as far as landscaping and privacy fence and stuff that neighbors would consider acceptable, but
If we can agree to a privacy fence and extra landscaping.
I mean, like 6 feet on each side is part of what's catching me. I mean, if you look, that's all that's from the edge of the house to the edge of his lot. That's it.
literally this exact measurement is it. It feels like we're just going to be cramming something in, and I don't know. There's only so many bushes you can add to fix that. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure there's houses in St. Andrews and Spring Hill and the Seasons.
That doesn't make it better.
Who
It
have
just makes it have
right.
happened.
I'm not saying it makes it better, but people are buying the houses. You can't
Yeah.
get a, you know,
I
they
mean,
didn't have a
some-
problem selling the house or renting houses there.
Some people.
That's all I'm saying is that.
Yeah.
Some
it's-
people, they move into it because they have less yard.
It's a less yard development.
They
There's
have less-
days that I'm like,
true.
God,
That's
I
absolutely, there's
like
not a
big
lot,
lot.
there's a lot of people that don't want to, you know, take care of a yard.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, but it really, I mean, I understand your concern, but I mean, if a guy could come in here and build a single family house and build 6-foot offsets. I mean, that's code without having to do any variance or anything else. I mean,
Yeah.
or somebody could build a garage, you know, 6 foot off the
Kirk,
line.
I guess the question really comes down to is, are you going to be a good neighbor,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Are you going to take care of your neighbors?
Yeah.
Are you going to make sure it looks good? If you have bad tenants, are you going to make sure they keep up on it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's ultimately your property.
Correct.
And are you going to make your neighbors around you feel confident that you're going to take care of it and make it pretty for everybody else?
Yeah,
I mean,
and I know that's that's a great question,
that's pretty
and
much
that
the
is a
point
big
we're
concern.
trying to make here.
Yeah. And we do everything in-house. I mean, we develop, build, manage everything in-house. I mean, so we're not just going to build this and, you know, not have any experience. We're going to have 25, 30 years of experience. Obviously, we want to have the best people in there, and, you know, and then we own them, so we want to take care of them. And the better we take care of them, the less maintenance we have. I mean, so you're in front of you, you have somebody that's, you know, has dedicated their life to, you know,
Yeah.
and this job. So, and
Can
takes care
we
of stuff.
waive the reading first before we move into the final vote? Can I have a motion to waive the reading? Before we get to the roll call? Is there no motion to waive?
I'll make the motion to waive the reading.
Motion to waive the reading. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Sarah. All in favor say aye.
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 No.
All opposed?
No.
Brent? No. We're just waiving the reading right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. 2 opposed, 3 for. Okay, so now is there a compromise? Is there some type of thing that we can do to make some of the people on the fence more comfortable? Is there something that you can bring to council or bring to Micah that's satisfactory on?
Or even, is
On
there something that
landscaping.
we can just in the agreement for the rezoning, I don't know if it's allowed for the rezoning agreement, if we say privacy fence will be built, additional landscaping of, I don't know what, I mean, like, I know in my neighborhood, we had to have 2 trees and 3 shrubs or something like that at each house,
So
but I don't know what.
I think if you want to put conditions on it,
Mhm.
you gotta send it back to the zoning, to the planning commission to request that, and then they send it back with the conditions.
Okay.
Or you can take my word on it. I'm going to be here for the next 3 years, you know, pulling permits through my
I mean,
you know.
Kirk's gonna be.
I mean,
he's
I'm not going
forever.
anywhere. And, you know, and would like to have the opportunity to do some more intercity while I'm here.
I don't think it's a matter of not trusting that.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, if that had been next door to me, I want to have a visualization of how that looks, right?
Sure.
And then if the council took those steps into making that, you know, on the record, you know, kind of ease those tensions a little bit, like, you know, they said they're going to do this, but we didn't. You know what I mean? So I think, just from my prospect, you know, reassurance, you know.
Is it something that could be written into the building permit, or?
I mean, I don't know how Ryan wants to do that either. It was always my understanding you could just kind of prove a contingent initially, but I don't know in that sense. Normally, planning commission will approve something contingent upon something, that the city council will take that condition into account, but city council doesn't have to, but I don't know, I mean.
The statute says that you can adopt You can override the planning commission, or you can return the recommendation with statements specifying the basis for the governing body's failure to approve or disapprove. So I think if you want to, if you feel like you want to put a condition on it, I think you need to send it back to the planning commission requesting that they take consideration of that, and then they can refer it back to you with that condition.
Well, and a reminder, the planning commission's passed this 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Not even going this far. I mean, I'm not gonna jeopardize, you know, not planting a tree or putting up a privacy fence to never be able to come up to you guys again and ask for any kind of development or zoning situation.
We're just playing back
Yeah.
and forth at that point.
And
I mean,
I'm over that.
If he puts up a privacy fence and extra landscaping to make it look good, to make it aesthetically pleasing, can we make that compromise? To make the neighbors happy?
I would agree to that.
Have you ever contacted your neighbors in that area?
Who's that?
Have you called your neighbors in that area?
I have not. We've sent out we have to pull a 200-foot radius, and they send it out when I submit.
Has your neighbors contacted you?
I've had some neighbors call about the yard not being mowed and obnoxious weeds and, you know, just stuff that you guys, the lot's been sitting there for 30 years. It wasn't my fault, but yet there's obnoxious weeds on it. I'm actually gonna take care of the problem. So, but besides that, no, I haven't.
Okay.
Do I have my grands on extra guarantees that we're gonna build a privacy fence? What would a privacy fence look like, I guess? I mean, what type of?
We usually put them on all of them, just off the back slider, all the way to the back of the property. So where that 140 is, just over the property line, and then all the way back, and then we put a dividing fence in between where that 50 is, to the house.
And this lot's been empty for 30 years?
Yes.
Wow.
We voted last year on this lot. We voted no on this lot.
You guys also voted yes on the Craig house 5 years ago, and it, you know,
I think
it
that
was
probably
fine.
would have been.
Yeah, that was just him.
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
none of us were here.
I'm just saying that to make you,
Right.
I feel like the bad guys here.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the ordinance for the rezoning request case zone 23-4, with the hope that you will follow through with the fence and some landscaping. And
I will.
I know, and this is just kind of a side note, that Mr. Grafing made the comment that if it was approved, he'd like to see sidewalk added to that block. I know when Craig was here before, we did a connectivity study on the whole town, and I think that's something that we need to focus on again and look at and see, especially in the Old Town area, about where we can get sidewalks, because those kids do walk to school.
Absolutely.
There's roads that it's not gonna be feasible on, it's just not gonna work.
Mhm.
But there's also roads that we can do it on, in the older part of town, and I'd like to see that happen. And if that's something we can get assistance from builders on, not saying pave all, or put sidewalks
Yeah.
in our whole old town, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the residents to take on that chunk of.
Well, if that would be
Money,
you know,
but-
I would definitely vote for that. I mean, obviously, we're building communities, and we want these people that rent here to be able to get their kids to school safely. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's all part of it.
We can
So I
probably
would
look
see
for
that.
some grants too, some.
Yeah.
Madam Vice Mayor, I was going to add, in communities I've served prior,
when we've had these kinds of developments, we've asked the developer to put a sidewalk across the frontage, and they've accommodated to that. Sometimes it actually doesn't fit in great because there might be beat up sidewalk from one point to the other, but theirs is there, so if the other property owners do decide that they want to do a sidewalk improvement at some point in the future, they can connect into that nice new one there.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Sarah,
I'll second.
second by Aubrey. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Oh, roll call.
Councilmember Fish,
No.
Councilmember Leland,
Yes.
Councilmember and Mayor Larkin,
Yes.
Councilmember Traer,
No.
Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Motion passed.
The ordinance 941.
941, thank you very much. This is item H.2. This is a Trans Systems amended agreement for 183rd and 54 turn lanes. Quick background, on November 6th, the City Council had open dialogue with Brett Letowski of Trans Systems to review the status of the 183rd and US 54 turn lane project. Discussion revealed the project was about 80% design, but funding for the project had stalled at the state level. Initial review shows that to complete design of the proposed turn lanes onto 54 from 183rd would cost around $32,000 plus any additional costs from right-of-way acquisition. Transsystem has turned in a proposed agreement to finalize the design of the project. If the agreement is approved by the city, Transsystem will finalize the project and submit it to KDOT for review and approval, after which the city would need to turn in an access management application to KDOT to receive funding. Right-of-way acquisition would be at the expense of the city. The city would have to acquire right-of-way for the sidewalks for the design from Marilyn and John LLC, Pathway Church, and Catholic Diocese of Wichita. The negotiations have not been started yet for right-of-way acquisition for the sidewalks. So City Council is considering approving a design agreement between the city and Transsystems to finalize the engineering design work for 183rd Street to add turn lanes on the US 54 on the north and south side. This is agreement under Exhibit H.2B. Cost, not including right-of-way acquisition, is around $32,000. The total actual cost is around $31,400. Right-of-way acquisition for sidewalks would need to happen if the city wanted a sidewalk and final construction design. If funding is required, the city would have to bid and manage funding in a similar fashion as to the archive, with field work and design services not being included in the final construction costs under the access management control application. This is the design. So this is the sidewalk, and then it will jump north and then go that way. And here's the sidewalk here connecting to the 183rd existing sidewalk there. Hugging the south side of the frontage road as it runs to the west. Here's a turn lane as it heads to the east, a turn lane here, a turn lane here. And there's the blow-up version of it. So right now it's two lanes. You have one heading north and one heading southbound. Everyone queues up here and it pushes the traffic back, all the way over to the Seasons and further. And so this way it would put in a right turn lane, you'd have a southbound turn lane, a southbound straight lane, excuse me, and then you'd have a eastbound turn lane. And over here they put an additional eastbound turn lane. Financially done. Legal to approve as formed by Robert Corkindale and Morris Lane. It is recommended City Council approve the mayor signing an agreement between Transsystems and the city for 183rd and US 54 engineering and related services. Voice vote.
So can you go back to the picture?
Yes.
Can I have the laser pointy thing?
I don't know.
Can you show me how to make it?
Yes, so this one right here is the
Okay.
and then back.
Okay, so daily, which one, the green button?
Yeah.
Daily, so basically here's the lane that's there now. And people can either turn this way or go straight or go this way. And daily, I'll be sitting here and people will be turning and people come here and go around these people as people are turning this way and they almost die. Like literally, every day I see that. So I'm all for this happening. It needs to happen.
I have to commend Sarah a little bit more because actually she reminded me just, what was it, about a month ago? She called me up and she says, hey, why are we working on this project? And I thought, oh, you know what? She got me.
Like, where did that project go?
So anyways, I think this is a great project. Where's the money coming from to finish this? Is this?
So our portion of it, I'm going to say tentatively our portion of it is going to come from the money that would have been used on Hawkins.
Hawkins, okay.
If not, or if that is not sufficient to cover our portion of it, which I believe it will be, but if it's not sufficient to cover our portion of it, we do have some reserves in capital improvements.
So we're good.
I mean, so essentially it would be about say about 40% of what we transfer in there from our sales tax revenue this year for next year.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I don't want it coming from funds that are used, like in the current plan we have for repairing streets and
No,
upkeep and all this stuff we currently have going.
Yeah, just to bore everybody with my nonsense. The money that we use for our street maintenance, that is sales tax from our county share tax, and the sales tax we use for capital projects is our city sales tax. So this would be the city sales tax.
Okay. So it's not going to hurt our other road projects
No,
in
and
any way?
I don't know if you remember during budget, I already have planned over the next 4 years to basically double our annual street maintenance as well.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions? None? Do I have a motion to
I
approve?
make a motion to approve the mayor signing an agreement between Trans Systems and the city for 183rd and US 54 engineering and related services.
Motion
Second.
by Sarah, second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you very much. This is H.3, Special Assessment, Respread, Cloverleaf, and Elkridge. You want to jump in on this one? Nope. Okay. All right. Due to the complexity of the assessment proceedings related to the issuance of general obligation bonds, Series 2022-1, there is an accounting error omission that needs to be corrected. This, coupled with multiple lot splits within Cloverleaf subdivision, requires supplemental assessment proceedings to address such error omissions and the amount of specials that are being assessed to each lot. On November 6, 2023, city staff presented possibility of paying down specials prior to the county sending out billing statements, and it was approved. The county has said that it would be acceptable, and the city staff has now prepared documents for resplitting the special assessment costs for the improvements. Resplitting the costs follow a similar procedure to assessing specials requiring a public hearing, which you'll be setting today. The city council is considering setting a public hearing date for December 4th, which would help to correct an error in the amount of special assessments to the residents of Cloverleaf and Elkridge. Resolution for the respread agreement is attached to Exhibit H.3A. Supplemental assessment proceedings are prescribed by statute and substantially similar to the original assessment process with public hearing requirement. Small cost for publication, approved as the form. All documents related to the respread have been drafted by Kevin Cowan and Gilmore and Bell, reviewed by Brett Shirley and Steve Nichols. We do have Kevin Cowan here. If you do have any questions for him, he is our bond counsel. It is recommended City Council direct staff to publish a notice of public hearing for the respread agreement and setting the public hearing date for December 4th with a simple voice vote. And as mentioned, if you have any comments or questions related to that, I'm happy to answer them the best I can. If not, we do have bond counsel here and City Treasurer Matt Long as well.
Am I remembering correctly that for our conversation today, their specials are actually going to go down?
Yes.
Yes, so the specials are going to
Okay.
go down. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? No? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to direct staff to publish the notice of public hearing for the respread agreement and setting the public hearing date for December 4th.
Motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Keaton. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Board Mayor and Council. Item H4 is the relocation of the community garden. The community garden is a city-sponsored plot of land used by various residents to grow produce. It resided for several years on city-owned property on the northwest corner of the intersection of Broad Road and 23rd Street. In 2022, that property was sold to accommodate infill development. When it was sold, the gardeners were informed the city would provide an alternate location for a new community garden, complete with fencing, water, and tool shed. We've identified a suitable location for the new garden in the northwest corner of Linear Park. The proposed location is a 40 by 60 foot plot that has an existing water hydrant, has electricity, and it can be accessed via a driveway connecting to Walnut Street. The proposed garden will be bordered by a commercial grade 4 foot tall faux wrought iron fence, include a new 8 foot by 10 foot tool shed on a concrete pad. This is the northwest corner of Linear Park. There is Walnut Street, the boundary of the park. You can see the trail here. And this is the proposed location. As you can see, we've got a frost-free hydrant out there. We've got electricity here, and it can be accessed. This is City Park property here, so it can be accessed off of Walnut there. We considered several companies when we went to bid for these items and received 2 for the fence and 3 for the shed. Below are some of the costs. The fence is $12,900, shed's $2,500. Concrete pad for the shed is approximately $2,500 for a total cost of $17,967.95. There are several things here that we want to discuss in the recommendations and the motion. There's obviously the motion for the council to approve everything and move forward with construction. Motion to direct us not to construct the community garden, table for further construction discussion. Now, there was something that came up today, speaking with new city administrator Craig Crossett, and he had a great idea. You know, one of the big concerns was who was going to manage this garden. You know, city staff doesn't have time to be growing vegetables on a daily basis. And so we were concerned, you know, some members of the community had come up and stated their concern that the garden wasn't going to be managed. Well, I've had lots of conversations with Amanda Treadwell, she's Lions Club president, about this garden, and she would like to see it move forward, and she's got some pretty good ideas on management. And you want to come up and share your ideas?
Hello, City Council. Amanda Treadwell with the Goddard Lions Club president. We discussed with the community garden is with this being a more centralized location, being close to the schools and by the park, that we would help create a garden group in the city. So it would be open to anybody in the community that could be a part of that, anybody that has a love for gardening or flowers or anything like that. And we would just kind of help lead and facilitate that garden club and community. And with the intent of getting the schools involved, I spoke to Challenger, I spoke to CDS, and getting ready to speak to Discovery to let them know that was coming, because Challenger used to have a garden before they did their Star Bond improvements, and now they don't. So this gives them another garden under close proximity to where they can use for STEM and other activities. Also, growing vegetables for our blessing boxes in town, so feeding, doing hunger projects, and then of course the community use, so where they would be able to, you know, rent those plots and stuff. But I would like to have that garden committee and club to be the one that actually comes up with all the rules and responsibilities and things like that. But the Lions Club is prepared and has agreed to help facilitate all the day-to-day stuff versus the city having to do that. We would just ask the electricity, the water, the fencing, all that main stuff still be maintained by the city, but we would take care of all the actual garden.
And the way we would do that is through a memorandum of understanding, an MOU with the Lions Club that would lay out who's responsible, what is whose responsibility, and what they would do, and probably put a time frame to it, and so we can make sure that for at least the foreseeable future is managed.
I'm not concerned that the community garden's not going to get managed or not going to get used. I mean, city leadership always ebbs and flows, and people are more involved than others at certain times. I think you'll always have somebody there. So I think the real question is do we want to approve the funds or not to use it? And to me, since we sold the 4.5 acres to Mr. Armstrong, our proceeds were $15,000. So really, this is costing us $3,000.
Well, we said we were going to do it. So
and we said we were going to do it. So
If you make your motion, if we could add something in there about the MOU, and so that way it's a basic direction to staff, so we can start developing that as well.
I did have one question. The structure that will be built, that will not impede or get in the way of any of the disc golf
Okay, now with the
pads.
disc golf,
will
there is
it?
a pad there and a basket. I'm working with Chris Duran.
Okay.
And we've already got some plans to make some small changes to the disc golf because they want to do a couple of tournaments this year. We'll move one pad, we'll move one basket. He's on board with that.
Awesome.
So he'll be directing us and all that.
Cool.
Sweet. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve moving forward with construction of the new community garden for the cost of $17,967.95 and to put in place an MOU with the Goddard Lions Club.
Motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Keaton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, this is H.5. This is a stormwater master plan update. So on October 25th, the city was inundated with rain totaling about 5.5 inches in a 48-hour period. Between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., the city received between 2 inches and 2.25 inches of rainfall intensity, and this type of rainfall event is considered a 5-year rainfall event, meaning it can occur every 5 years in the Cedar County area, and that's under Exhibit H.5C. Areas in any city that have older infrastructure tend to experience greater levels of damaging effects from natural events. Newer infrastructure tends to have more modern models and infrastructure to help mitigate natural occurrences. City Council reviewed the possibility of adopting the stormwater fee and decided to table idea until a formal master drainage plan could be reviewed for the city. In speaking with the city engineer, it was determined that this type of project should be bid in the form of a request for proposals, which is called an RFP. City Council is considering approving the city engineer drafting an RFP for stormwater master plan review. This is some pictures from October 25th. I had the pleasure of driving around Public Works as we were looking at the intensity of the rainfall event. This is over off of Industrial. This is the FEMA floodplain map. So what you see here is A, AE, AH, and AO are considered high risk. The dashed line is low risk, and then the area is not included. So we don't have any AH or AO. What we do have is A and AE, which are all these ones over here. So these are all FEMA floodplain areas that have to be taken into account when we do developments, but they're prone to flooding, and they're considered and known to be flood-prone areas, especially high-risk flood-prone areas. So costs to be incurred from the expense of hiring an engineering firm to conduct the work. Costs to be determined based on the bids from engineering firms. Legally, it's approved as a form. It is recommended City Council either 1, motion to direct staff to draft an RFP to solicit bids from engineering firms for the stormwater study. Motion to not to direct staff to draft an RFP, or table for further discussion. And we do have Harlan Foraker, the city engineer here, Brooke Vandenberg, Public Works Director, Matt Long, city treasurer. So if you guys have any questions related to this, feel free to ask.
So the stormwater study would cover the entire city limits, right? Just making sure we're not just studying like Old Goddard or one specific part.
The whole thing.
Whatever you guys want, really.
So at some point, since I've been on council, we actually directed staff, or what we thought was directed staff, to go ahead and do the study. But apparently that did not get, I don't know if a motion wasn't made or it didn't get done, basically is what has happened. So at this point, I'm in favor of directing staff to draft an RFP to get the bids so we can get the study done, because it is something, as town is getting older and our infrastructure is getting older, we need this study so we're not chasing our tails trying to fix things. We can do it properly.
Sure, yeah, and I think the study will definitely help identify areas prone to flooding, especially, I mean, intuitively you would say First Street is prone to flooding, pretty much obviously, but there's other areas that could be key locations where maybe over-engineering in those areas would absolutely help mitigate downstream impacts from stormwater, especially when you have major rainfall events. As mentioned, this is a 5-year rainfall event, but there's definitely such things as 10-year, 20-year, 50-year, 100-year rainfall events, which would really test the limits of our stormwater infrastructure in older areas. So I think the stormwater study will definitely help determine where's the best way to spend funds and in what areas. So I think that's definitely would be something to consider.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to direct staff to draft an RFP to solicit bids from engineering firms for a stormwater study.
Motion by Keaton.
Second.
Second by Sarah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Item H6 is a revisit of the community center with regard to change orders. At the June 19th meeting, council approved $129,183,000 to renovate the interior of the community center. Approved renovations include replacing existing ceiling tiles, vents, installation of new lighting, upgrading existing paneling with sheetrock and new paint. Both bathrooms would be re-sheetrocked and get new vanities and fixtures, toilets and whatnot. Kitchen upgrades involve replacing the existing cabinetry, countertops, adding a hand washing sink. There will be an outlet for the food warmer, all the good stuff needed to have events there. As the approved renovations were underway, several required and proposed change order items surfaced. The required change orders include repairing wall cracks and misaligned doors that occurred while lifting the foundation. And it also includes leveling some floor joists that kind of got out of whack when we leveled the foundation. Those change orders were largely covered by the contingency included in that prior approval. The proposed change orders are related to upgrades suggested by various community members and city staff. Those upgrades include modernizing the restrooms by installing a 4-foot tile wainscot similar to what we have in the City Hall restrooms. Instead of having sheetrock that can get dinged up and chipped up, it would be nice clean tile with a metal edge around the top. Other change orders are removing the entire drop ceiling in the building. The large area over the wooden dance floor, for lack of a better term, would be raised up to the rafters. That would be cleaned up, painted, and it would have decorative spiral HVAC ductwork in. You've probably been in and other facilities that have had that. It really opens up the room, cleans it up, modernizes it some. Also included in that ceiling would be removal of the drop ceiling in the entryway. A hard lid ceiling would be put in there, and additional new LED lighting throughout the whole area. What we have so far, this is from the original budget. We had a little over $79,000 for the interior rehab, $6,700 for the floor, $22,000 to raise and level the foundation, and then miscellaneous items, which included changing tables and drinking fountain type stuff, and then the contingency. Out of that so far, we have spent $20,500 on the raising and leveling the foundation. We had some unexpected costs with design and engineering. MABCD required us to have our changes reviewed by an architect as if it were a normal commercial building. We did that. They all were passed by MABCD with no issues. Change orders right now are, as we see down here, the changes related to foundation leveling are $7,500. Different drinking fountain, widen some closet doors, $3,400. $9,250 to do the bathroom upgrades. Now, as you see, the ceiling upgrades are the most expensive part. The general contractor brought in several subs for ductwork and stuff and chose the most affordable options there. So we got that in as inexpensively as we could. So the total change orders are $65,600, but with our contingency and whatnot, what the amount we're asking for, if council chooses to do all the change orders, is $49,335. Those costs would be allocated to general fund administration, capital outlay discretionary. Now, there are several things council can do here. You can motion to approve all the change orders. You can motion to approve specific change orders. You can deny all or table it for further action.
Talked to the team earlier, talked to Matt. You're good with if we were to approve the whole thing?
That line item, you don't need to go back. That line item you mentioned is a sort of line item we use in the general fund, to fund smaller non-planned capital projects that we just know we need to do throughout the year.
Okay.
And also it's the line item we use to set our mill levy. So we always put plenty of extra cash in there. And so there's more than enough to budget, or if it goes into next year, for next year's budget also to fund the rest of this project, the change orders.
I think if we're going to remodel it, we need to do it the right way and make it as nice as we can, because we're going to use it for a long time.
I think it'll really make the building.
I think the ceilings, even though it's the most expensive thing, I think lifting the ceilings is going to be.
It'll open it up so much.
I had the pleasure of going to lunch with Craig today, and we were talking about, we have the opportunity to either make it look like we just cleaned the place really, really good, or make it look like we actually redid the community center.
Right.
And so when people walk in, I want them to know we've upped it. So I'm all for it.
Anything else? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve all change orders for the community center for the cost of $49,335.
I want to be invited back for the ribbon cutting.
No chance.
Second.
And it's all done with a big party.
I second that motion.
Motion by Keaton, second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
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 We'll let you in at a half cover charge.
Yeah. Okay. Keaton?
Was it that part already?
You're not, are you council member elect, or are you just council?
I'm here for 4 more years.
You just keep it rolling. You just keep it rolling.
You're stuck with me.
Okay. Keaton, what do you got?
Yeah.
Can I interject real quick?
Go ahead.
I think you guys need to decide on the first meeting in January if you want to have that meeting or not.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So, it's coming down to an end. I know you all are going to miss me. I know it. But we only have a few meetings left, and I think we're wanting to to skip the first meeting in January, so it's clean. So we hand it off. So I think Sarah's last meeting will be the 6th, right? 4th. And then mine will be the 18th. And then we won't meet the first meeting in January. And then the new council will take over on the 16th. Okay. So I'll give my kumbaya speech on the 18th. So.
I'll send you a picture on the 16th from my hammock. Or 18th, whatever.
So, okay, is that good with everybody? So we understand the transition of power. George, he'll be sitting there in all his glory. All right, and Krista. Okay, I didn't forget about you. Okay, Keaton, what do you got?
I like to see getting things done. I'm really excited to get in and see the rest of the. We'll get there. Hold on. See the community center upgrades done. For those of you who are curious, the score is currently 7-7 in the second quarter for the Chiefs game. But I don't know. I did really good. I didn't check the score until now, but we're doing good. No, I'm really excited and really humbled by the fact that I get to serve you guys for 4 more years. So hope that I can make you proud, and I'm looking forward to that. So.
Me?
Sarah?
I don't really have anything today. I'll save it for next time.
Aubrey?
Yeah, congratulations to the new council members. Looking forward to serving with you. I want everybody to have a happy Thanksgiving holiday, and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. I'll second the community center. It needed to look like a major facelift. You know, we didn't want to just put Band-Aids over it, and we talked about that today. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. So.
Brent?
18 birds. I'm just letting you know.
By yourself or with the 17 other people?
No, with
you
the
went
group.
hunting with?
That's 18 birds.
One each.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? 18, right?
You shot them all.
He did.
No, I was under my limit.
Sounds like maybe you would, right?
I almost got a buck on my drive back to the office tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
What is the limit?
Is that it? That's it?
Not 18.
No, there was like, what is 14 guys?
It's pretty high.
14 guys? 14 guys. I mean, that's.
3 or 4, isn't it, for roosters?
I was thinking about the total with the number.
There's about 14 of us.
You can take 3 or 4 roosters. You're good.
Yeah, 14 of us.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
I guess I'll just say again, Keaton, Krista, George, congratulations. I think the city of Goddard is going to be in good hands with everybody. Today was the first day of our new city administrator, Craig Crossett. Thank you, Craig. I'm looking forward to seeing what the new governing body and the full new staff has to offer. It's kind of a bittersweet moment for me, but I'm looking forward to it. Me and George and some of the staff, we went on a drive today and just putter around Goddard all day today. So I had a lot of good times, and I had a lot of good memories here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to offer. Oh, while I have it on my mind, what is your guys' plan, Doug and Krista? Have we thought about your seat on the commission? When do we need to step down? When do we want to appoint? What's the plan there?
So technically speaking, Doug can serve till the end of the year because Krista's not going to technically start until January 8th. That would be her official start date. So Doug's first planning commission meeting, he can't show up for the first planning commission meeting in January. So either basically he would have until the end of the year. So that we're presumably the new mayor, whoever that is, come the first meeting in January would be the one who would appoint Doug's empty seat.
Okay.
He won't be there, but we should still have quorum because all we need is 4 people and we have 7. So Doug's absence would still give us 6. So we still could have a planning commission meeting. It would just be -1 Doug Hall.
Okay.
As long as nothing that they vote on in December comes to council once Krista's on, right?
Yeah, so.
I don't know how it all works. It makes my head hurt.
Yeah, so that'd be a.
We're a small community. It's gonna happen.
To answer that question, that'd be a direct all emails to Ryan Peck in Mass, and just don't reply all. And that's how that would work out.
We can solve it.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. We'll be talking to the guys on the transition with you too as well. So, okay. All right. I got nothing else to say. Oh, we need to move into executive
Make a
session.
motion for executive session to last 10 minutes regarding non-elected personnel to include the city
Administrator
and the
treasurer.
city treasurer.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
3-minute break, convening back in chambers at 8:25.
Approved.
one more of the yahoos to come in here so we can convene this. I don't
We're
know.
going to get petitions for a separate phase. We're also going to petitions for second phase. Push up.
I
Okay,
have here.
let the record show that
He's
there
never
was
been
no
okay.
binding action taken during executive session.
Make
Do I have
a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Sarah. Second by Keaton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.